Hey everyone, welcome along to this quick tour of my new instrument, the Gong. Pretty simple, pretty effective though. I am going to quickly run through what I've done, how I've been recorded, how I've built it quickly, so you get a really good idea. And I'm going to show you how it works as well, and what you can tinker with, what you can get out of it. Really quite proud of this one. It's been a little bit of a learning curve for me. It's the first where I've included multiple patches within an instrument. So the Gong was recorded quite a few times from a sound point of view. So yeah, it's been a learning curve, learning some new scripting techniques, but got there in the end inside Kontakt. Yeah, so without further ado, let's jump in and have a look at what I've done. Here we go. All right, so everything's recorded. This is the rendering session part. I've got left and right recordings, and I have hard panned them left and right, as you can see here. It's really a case of just going through all these recordings. Cassy recorded so much material, and I need to find here exactly the samples, the shorter samples I want to look at. So I'm also looking at the tuning and the stereo spread of these files as well. Looking for a location to save them into an exported audio files for the samples, and then hit do its thing. Taking these as far as I can to their silence. Although as you can see there, it does come back in where she adds a bit more movement. But that is one of the samples. So without boring you too much, here's me going through all of the rest of the actual recordings and finding the parts I want to use and rendering those out as well. We've got some really interesting performances out of this, and quite a few Flumies actual recordings as well. And here we go, processing the files. So now I'm looking at just adding slight fades on all of the files that I've chosen to render out. So here I'm working on the Crescendo 2 file, adding a slight fade, and then looking at a nice big value, fade out value for the end. As you can see, there's quite a lot, but yeah, without it, it would be a drastic stop. And then do the same to all of the other rendered files. I will then be loading these into Kontakt and creating sample maps out of them. Now this one is one of the Flumies, Flumie 5 that I've chosen. And this is going to be, you can see here I'm adding it to a sampler. And I've mapped it right across the keyboard, so correctly pitched it as well, so center pitched it, so when I play a note, so I'm depressing the F note here and we are seeing an F. I've also here added some time stretching capabilities into all the files so they all start and end at the same time. So as you pitch up the keyboard, they're not speeding up, they're all the same length. That's really important because I'm going to get these to be harmonically working together. I've then got a MIDI file here that is playing the notes from F0 all the way up to C6. Just randomly checking the notes that I play, I'll play them back the correct note. The idea here is for me to just play these notes through a modular setting that I set up previously, which I will have a look at in a minute, and then just leave it, these notes to play out through the modular and record them back in. So here's the modular. I'm running into rings. As you can see, the input coming from the system here, going in, and then I'm taking the output of rings. I've chosen some great settings there, processing parameter wise. I'm running into my effects aid, and there's some slight pitching modulation going on in the background there, and a couple of other little teaser effects I've done as well throughout, and then that's coming back out the system, back into my patch bay and being recorded back in as audio. There was some noise picked up from the modular system, and this is a case of here are the recordings, the audio recordings, and we're now going to identify the noise and remove the noise, re-render. So here I am trying to find a noise profile on one of the ends of the files. Switch it on, and there's the noise profile. And all we need to do is render that now back in. So we're going to do a bounce in place, rename that denoised files. And they are the files that we will use. Just playing these back. We'll get a lot less noise on them now. And now we're going to start to look at cutting these. Now I would normally use a trim silence in Logic Pro here, really quick, but what I find is it chops off some of the sound towards the ends of the files. It's not recognizing correctly, so I'm going to do this manually here. I won't bore you, but here I am finding the correct points. And then it's over to, after they're all exported, over to Adobe Audition, and I'm going to do some batch processing and normalize these. -3 dB, I don't want to go to 0.1, I want some headroom. so that when we play these harmonically, we don't get a load of distortion. We're continually having to pull the volume back on the actual plug-in itself on the instrument interface. And you can see here, normalized files. Peak value of -3 dB, exactly what I wanted. Let's just quickly check those as well. They've exported all right. Play a couple. Yep, all working good. So all the samples are now in. The instrument has been made. And it's time for testing. Very organic sound, very ethereal. So surprised how it turned out. So you've already heard a preview of what the Gong is capable of, but I'm just going to quickly now tour you through what went on. If I now jump under the hood, under the spanner, any of you who know my previous builds, they're all pretty much similar in effects wise, although this is a little bit different. I've changed some of the effects on here. And the build is basically some scripting there. We've got multiple sounds to choose from. The Flumies are, of course, different beaters, shall we say, that were used by Cass. They create different tones, and I think I've got a really good selection of those there. The lo-fi one is, I've run a load of effects onto that to lo-fi one of the Flumies. It's pretty gritty and cool. And then we've got some crescendos to choose from, and one of which is really kind of amped with some effects. We've got a strike, and of course I ran through ran one of the Flumies through my rings setup on my modular with a few routing techniques, and something great came out of that, so I'm really quite proud of that as well. Yeah, and then I've set up envelopes, and here are all the effects. We've got the instrument effects, and we will also, if we look at the groups, you'll see that there is also, I've got insert effects and instrument effects. You can of course manipulate these after you've downloaded any way you want. It's totally up to you, but yeah, this is the build start. So what does it sound like? You've already, like I said, had a preview. I'm currently on the strike. Let's start from the top. So Flumie 1. Let's turn down all of the effects, so you've got it dry. We'll have a little bit of attack and release on it. Sounds pretty cool. I've got the filters back into their resting state. Okay, so this is how it sounds. So that's the original recording. It does go on for a lot longer. What I've done with the Flumies in particular, and also the rings, is actually create multiple voices, so you can play chords. Quite nice, but you know, we can get this to sound much better. Let's give it a little bit more volume. So they can be quite harmonic. So that's the Flumies. There's a Flumie 2, which is my favourite. We've got the lo-fi. And then Flumie 3. Again, you can hear it's harmonic. It can be harmonic. Flumie 4. They're all a bit different tonally, the way they've been played. Sound great. I've not even added some effects yet. The crescendos, let's just do 2, conscious of time. Of course, all these are pitchable. So down low, you get into really sinister tones, really good. Strike is just a hit. Which of course you can play multiples of, sounds great. And then finally, the modular synthesis. It's one of the Flumies run through the modular, particularly the rings module. Let's do just a normal one. There you go. So let's go quickly back to Flumie 2, which I said is my favourite there. Let's play about with some effects. So reverb, you can really go crazy with this and get some lovely ambient tones out of it. Bit of saturation. Some chorus. Let's bring the saturation down so you really hear what's going on. Let's pull the reverb back a bit as well. Oh, we'll leave it on. And if we bring the attack back, or the release back, we'll play back with some delay. Take the reverb down. rotator. Get into some big distortion territory if you go too far with that. And of course we've got the obligatory low pass and high pass controls, which of course combined together you can create notching. Give that a bit more volume. So there you go, the Gong by myself. Hopefully you are going to enjoy this as much as I am. I was really surprised what came out when making this, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to adding it into some of my soundtracky compositions in the future. It's got something special about it. So if you yourself use it in any compositions and you want to send them to me, please do. The links to download are in the descriptions supplied, and of course any comments, any feedback is always greatly appreciated. I will see you next time. Bye.